All right. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Today we're gonna play with, I'm sitting beside my block so you can see them. We're gonna play with pigeon pose and we're gonna try to break it down to the very basics. If you can, if your body allows, I want you to just go ahead and set up both of your blocks side by side on the lowest level and then sit up on those blocks. Now, I know for at least one of you, it may be difficult even up on the blocks to sit cross-legged. And if that's the case, I would go ahead and just start in your normal hero pose or just have your legs straight, which is also awesome. What I like about getting elevated, and you're going to see this a number of times today, is that if we can bring the hips up, right? If we can bring the whole body up a little bit, it allows the muscles around the hips to relax a little bit. And then knees that are often here above the hips can drop ideally level or below the hips. Not always, right? So it depends on how you're built. So don't worry if they're not working that way. And if you sit on the blocks and it feels god awful, grab your blanket and roll it up a couple times and sit on that. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and sit well. We close the eyes and notice if you're sitting on the blocks where your pelvis is in space. The other thing I love about the blocks is that you can access the tilt and tuck of the pelvis often easier than if you're just sitting on the floor. So start there. Feel your body in space. Where is it? Can you feel the sit bones on the blocks? Making sure the knees, the ankles are comfortable. And again, just taking the feet out if you need to. And then feel from the tailbone dropping down the blocks, that tailbone dropping down toward the floor. Feel the whole spine start to rise up from there. And maybe in your mind's eye, you can feel the inward curve of the lumbar spine. Don't make it bigger than it is. And the gentle outward curve of the thoracic spine. And then maybe the gentle inward curve of the neck. And then, as if there were a soft magnet at the very top of the head, the crown of the head that does not lift the chin, but lifts the whole spine up, creating space between the vertebra, using your breath, starting to move into your practice in a deeper way, letting go of everything else. Notice where the shoulders are, notice where the head is in relation to the spine. And just soften. Just soften. Good. Few more breaths right here, just centering. The breath is so healing and balancing to the nervous system. And then allow your eyes to open. If you need to switch out your legs, please go ahead and do that. Inhale, take the arms up. As you exhale, one hand down, the other one reaches over. Make sure your blocks feel nice and steady under your hips. And then reach over the knee, just let it sweep. Do that 2 more times. Pause at the side bend. And then a gentle reach forward, sweep it across. One more. And breathe. Good. Both arms up. Exhale the other side, pressing out, softening the shoulder, reach over the knee, let the arms circle, very gentle here, and breathe. Good. One more right here. First a side bend, and then a reach, and both arms up. Exhale to your heart. Open those arms up, spread them wide, turn the palms back, interlace, and press back. So I'm not worried about pressing out back toward the wall. I'm looking at pressing down to open up the shoulders, open up the chest. Breathe. Maybe the palms of the hands come together, right? So that can be tricky. Don't force that, but just see if the palms will come closer to each other. Good. Big stretch for that front body. Don't lift the chin if you can help it. Release. Inhale. Exhale to your heart. Open it up. Turn it around. Interlace, and then find the other interlace. Open it up. Maybe turn the head side to side. Keep drawing the tips of those shoulders back. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. Deep breath. And release. Inhale. Exhale. And shake that out, everybody. Take one hand to your chest, the other one either to your sacrum or to the blocks. Either one is fine. I want you to feel the chest rise, but yet the belly tone and the tailbone drop down. So I'm looking for a teeny tiny back bend, right? And that back bend is moving mostly from the thoracic spine. So as I draw the back of the chest forward and lift the chest and then tone the belly, there's no low back involvement or not much. As I start to lift up and then maybe take one arm up, maybe take the other arm up, both hands behind the head. So I'm going to hold on to the back of my head, open the shoulders, draw the head higher. So I'm actually pulling up on that head a little bit. And then I'm going to see if I can deepen the back bend gently, everybody, as the elbows open up, as the chest opens up. So if we're playing with pigeon pose today, it is in a sense a hip opener or a hip stretch and a back bend. Good. Bring the head back to neutral. Take those arms up. Exhale. Let go. Good. Roll that out. And then take both forelegs out in front of you and maybe just kind of lift and lower the feet. Ooh, stretch out those ankles. Good. Make sure you feel nice and solid on your blocks. Take the legs a little bit wider. You can take the hands behind you and just a little gentle windshield wiper. Want you to go slow. Feel the hips getting or the glutes really getting a little massage on the blocks. For some, this feels good. For others, it's a good. Just breathe. The next time, I'm going to mirror here. The next time the knees are to the left, go ahead and pause. Bring the torso up. Bring one leg back. If you can, drop the ankle and then drop the foot. So this is part of one of the seated twists that we can do. Now, if this hurts, right, keep one leg forward. If this knee, this ankle hurts, keep that foot forward. So that would be your right foot. And then just notice how this feels. As we start to try to level the hips a little bit, hopefully you feel a block under each hip. Even if, if it's your right hip, it does feel lifted, but I'm also seated and grounded. Inhale, reach up. Take the left hand down, take the right arm over and stretch. Some of you can come all the way down to your elbow and breathe. Push into that hand, lift up. Exhale, other side, right hand down, left arm over. Really feel a nice stretch. Try to keep that top shoulder from rounding forward. And take it up. Exhale your hands to your heart and bring both hands forward. So I'm still sitting here. I'm still grounded in the hips. Some of you, again, are going to have this leg forward because your knee isn't happy with this position. You can also go wider, by the way. Sometimes that helps. And then maybe you slide the hands forward, but watch the rounding in the low back. Try to keep your natural curve there. Maybe you come down to elbows. And again, for some, this will be nice and easy. This is a very, very, very simple hip stretch. Just find your breath. Deep breath. And then slide those hands up, listen up. So this leg that's back, just hold it there for a moment. Scoot over to the one block. So it would be your right side block. And if you can, lean back. So the other interesting part of pigeon, right, is the stretch of the quad and psoas of the leg that's back. And we'll cover all that. But how do we stretch this quadricep, right front of the thigh, in order to open that baby up? Some of you are going to stay here. Some of you are going to imagine lifting off the block. Don't actually lift, but as you press the pelvis away from the block, you're going to feel that stretch a whole bunch deeper. And release. Let's take that foot out. Good. Maybe pitter patter the feet a little bit. Shake it out. Come back to the center line of your blocks and windshield wiper both ways. Looks like my blocks are separating a little. Next time those knees are over to the right, go ahead and pause. One knee drops, the other foot comes back and behind. Feel free to shift and play with those blocks. Make sure they stay together. And again, feel how it is on this side. Check the ankle, check the knee, make sure you feel good here. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, right hand down, right, our left arm over. Keep the shoulders open. Feel this nice, sweet little stretch. Maybe you can come down. That's too low. So when I came down to elbow, my whole hip lifted off of that block. So I want to stay grounded, so I'll stay high. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, other side. Big stretch, everybody. And breathe. And feel how tight this side is for me. Keep the standing shoulders soft. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, release. Good. Take those hands to the floor. Walk them forward. Soften the elbows. Maybe take those elbows to the floor. Just see how that feels on this side. You're going to know pretty quickly if something feels funky, right? And in the hips, I don't like funky. You can feel the stretch. You can feel a little intensity, but funky, you know what that means. Come on out or stay higher, okay? Deep breath. And press on up, everybody. Keep that bent knee where it is. Take the other foot forward and just scoot to that block. Why do we do that? So we can keep the hip and knee a little more lined up. And then lean back. Good. And again, maybe you try to tuck the pelvis as if you were going to lift off the block to find a little deeper stretch. Good. Breathe. Always interesting to notice which side's tighter. Oh, good. Come on up, everybody. And release. Take that foot out. Pitter patter the feet. And breathe. And then take the soles of the feet together into a nice little Baddha Konasana. Again, sitting up on the blocks, often that helps. In Baddha Konasana, the hips roll forward just a little bit as the pelvis tilts forward. It can help to open up the hips a little bit more. So there's no pressing, no forcing. We're just going to let gravity take this pose. Nice deep breath, everybody. Just pause. What does it feel like to not rush? How many of us rush through our poses or rush through our lives from one thing to the other, right? All right. Outside hands, bring those knees in. Woo, good. And shake that out. Walk both feet forward. We're almost done with this little series. Oh, by the way, I should have said you'll need your strap. So go ahead and grab that. So here, right, we're just going to play with this idea. Fingertips are either pointed toward you or turned, depends on your wrists. Draw the shoulders back. See if you can lift the hips, just a little reverse table, and then drop it down. Good. And lift and down. Just 3 more. Press it up. Don't drop the head down. And 4. Whew. Last one. Press and down. Nice job. Release that. We're almost done. Grab your strap. If you happen to have a loop, you can put a loop around your right foot. If you don't worry about that right now. Just grab your strap, take it around the foot, drop your other foot back down. So here's your grounding, and take your right leg straight up. Draw the shoulders back, press down through this leg that's on the floor. Maybe you take the other arm up. If you feel a little unsteady on the blocks, take that hand behind. Good, breathe. Now feel this leg, this long leg. Maybe draw that hip back in. Whew. Yeah, and take the leg out to the side. Take it forward. Oh, the other way. Woo-hoo, there's that stretch. That's the stretch we all love. Can't get enough of that sensation. Breathe. You can take the arm up. Take it back to center. Release your strap. Slowly lower it. Bend this knee a little bit and just take it forward. Keep a bend in the knee. Otherwise, you're just going to hyperextend that knee. Breathe. Whoo, hamstring stretch. Come on up. Soften, go the other way. Take the other leg up. And breathe. I feel like I have so much I want to cover. That's it. Lift up nice and tall, everyone. Support your pose. Maybe that hand comes up. Maybe the leg goes out to the side. Make sure the leg on the ground is grounded. Grab your strap through the middle, take it across. Take it back to center. Release your strap. Lower that leg. Soft bend in the knee as you take the torso forward. You don't have to have a straight knee or a straight knee, I guess, or a straight leg in order to tap into the hamstrings at the back of the leg. Breathe, lengthening your torso over that leg. Feel that. And come on up, everybody. Whew, yeah. Good. Set your strap aside. We're going to come back to these blocks in a moment, but I want to go ahead and get us warmed up the rest of the way. So if you can, again, if your knees allow, just push off your blocks, hands to the floor, come into a nice forward fold and breathe. And then bend the knees, hands to knees, come on up. All right, bring the blocks to the front of your mat. We are gonna play with these, so make sure you can see me okay, right, as we start to play. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, pause again here. Just shake that baby out a little bit. Start to lengthen through the hamstrings, lengthen through your torso. Press into your blocks, lift halfway up. Exhale down, bend the knees, step back with your right leg. You've got your blocks in play. Hang on here. We're just again warming up. Lower the right knee to the floor. Starting to stretch through the front thigh, front psoas. Just breathe. Now, we've talked about this a gazillion times. Try not to just sink into that hip. I know it feels good for some of you. The glute is engaged, the hip capsule, right? The front of that hip or pelvis is contained so that there is integrity in that joint. I just want you to feel a stretch. That's all. Take your left hand block to the inside of your left foot. Walk the left foot out a little bit, and then maybe allow the knee to splay out to the side just a little. If you start to oversink here in the front right hip, I want you to draw the hips back a little more. And breathe. Bring the torso up. Maybe you feel a little back bend. Good. Take that knee up. Bring the block back to the outside. Lift that knee and step forward. Bend both knees. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Soften. Hands to blocks. Lift halfway up. Exhale it down. Step back, left leg. Nice solid lunge here. Lower the knee to the floor. Start to feel the stretch on this side. Pause here. Level out your hips. Find your breath. Squeeze that left glute. Walk the right hand block inside. Walk the right foot out a little bit, and then maybe the knee splays out. Don't have to, right? You're already getting a phenomenal stretch in the left thigh. Need to go any lower. Keep the integrity of the hips though. And breathe. Bring that knee back to center. Walk that foot back in. Lift the knee. Walk your blocks forward and step forward. Feet or hips width apart. Bend the knees. Inhale, reach up. Exhale to your heart. Good. Turn sideways on your mat. Let's get the inner legs warmed up a little more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart, just a wide leg squat. You're watching the knees, right? My knees and my ankles, woo, in a line. They're not dropping in, right? We're sitting back in that imaginary chair. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. Exhale. Stand all the way up. Exhale your hands to your heart. Walk those feet in, hips width apart. Legs are nice and solid. Take it up. Exhale, squat. Lengthen the tailbone, lift the chest, chair pose. Sitting back in that pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, come on down. And lift. Take it up, one more. Exhale. Take the arms up. Find your breath. Release, inhale up. Exhale to your heart, shake that out. Back to the front of your mat, your blocks are nearby. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, halfway up. Now release that. Soften the knees, step back, right leg. Listen up. Here's where it gets interesting. You're going to take your right hand block, turn it on the highest level, bring it about, I don't know, a foot or two behind you on the right side so that when we lunge, you're going to land your thigh on that block. Okay. Now, for some of you, ain't gonna happen, right? Too deep, too much. If that's the case, either a high lunge blocks or a low lunge. Now, your other block, either your hands are going to be on the floor, or you can use your other block to place your hands. Whew. And I want you to breathe. Now, why are we using a block? We've got one, this is quite the hip stretch. Two, I've got something stopping my hip thigh from going lower. So what do I want to do with this? I want to press that heel of that foot back, engage this glute. I'm in a small back bend here. You can bend the elbows. Breathe, really push through that back leg. Feel the glute get active. The quad is certainly active. Find your breath. Deep breath, everybody. Good. Plant those hands. Lift off your block. Step back to downward facing dog. Hold here. Bring the block to the center line, right about where it was before. Come to plank pose. Listen up. Drop the thighs, pelvis, pubic bone, wherever you land on the block, and feel this variation of upward facing dog. Again, if it is too much, you can bend the elbows to lessen the curve or skip that altogether, drop the knees and find a smaller, lighter back bend. But I like this. I don't like up dogs so much, but I like this version. It's accessible. It doesn't hurt my back. Good. Engage that belly plank. Down dog. Listen up. Walk that block to the left side of your left-ish, just left of center, really. Step forward, right foot. If you can, if your body allows, let the left thigh land on your block. Again, you can bring your other block in place if that's a little too low, if the floor is a little too low. But breathe and feel that. You can take both hands inside the right leg. That may feel better. Squeeze the left glute. Engage the left leg. Press the left heel back. Feel the opening. That left thigh. Woo. Big deep breath, everyone. If this is too much, too intense, please just bring your knee to the floor and come into low lunge and love and take care of your body. All right, so here we are again. Lift the left thigh, step back, down dog. Bring the block to your center. Come to plank, land on the block, lift into a little training wheel up dog. Keep the legs active. Come to plank, lower your knees and sink back child's pose. Let your forehead rest on your block. Just releasing those hips, everybody. Whew. Find your breath. Good. And release that. So hopefully you're feeling nice and warmed up. You're going to grab both of your blocks and you're going to stack them on the right edge of, not on the edge, I'm a couple inches away from the edge, on the right side of your mat, one behind the other, if that's the front of your mat. So here's what I find interesting about Pigeon. Trying to think how I can demo this best. Let me switch. So if I wanna, we're gonna start different. So I'm gonna bring my right knee right in front of those blocks, and then I'm gonna sit on the blocks. You can see them right here. And then I wanna walk my thigh onto the block so that it's really nicely supported. We're in a similar pose than that we were before, other than the leg being back behind. And I want you to just feel this. So one variation, we're going to do a couple. One variation of pigeon is what some people call lazy pigeon, where you're on the hip, you're on one hip, you take the arms forward. This is a nice version if you have knee stuff. And I'm just gonna kind of hang out here and see what that feels like if my hands are forward. My thigh, my right thigh is pretty much parallel with the side of my mat. And then maybe I start to turn the left hip toward the mat, come onto the left knee, the left top of the left foot, stay on the blocks. The things I see in Pigeon a lot when students do Pigeon is one hip is down, one hip is up. They have this downward curve happening. So one of the things to play with is the drop of the hip, the straight leg hip, so that the line of the sacrum is pretty even. Again, the belly is toned. I'm just looking forward. Remember that Pigeon is also a back bend. So as much as we want to drop forward, if we come up on fingertips, we find the back bend portion of this through the spine, the front of the body, getting a beautiful stretch, the low belly toned. Good. To release this, lift your left knee, step back to down dog. Lower your knees. Trust me, we're going to come back to this. Take the blocks over to your left side. Same thing. You're just going to walk the left knee forward. You're going to drop onto the blocks and then shift so that your left thigh is more or less parallel with that side of your mat. My knee is off my blocks. It can be either way. And then the hands come forward. Maybe my back leg knee is bent. And I'm just hanging out and I'm checking it out on this side. How does it feel in my body? If that feels pretty good to you, I want you to start to shift the right hip, right front hip bone toward the mat. So the right thigh starts to turn toward the mat, the right kneecap, the right top of my foot or the top of my right foot. And I breathe. And maybe I lift. And maybe I engage the right glute, tone in through the belly, the low belly. And breathe. Plant the hands, everybody. Lift your right knee, slide the left leg back. Find downward facing dog. Pedal it out. And then lower your knees to the floor. Second play, take both of those blocks, turn them sideways to the short edge of your mat. So they're parallel with the short edge of your mat. I also like this version. So imagine coming into table pose. Take the right knee or the right foot and step over those blocks. And then walk your right foot over until your shin foot drop to the floor. So again, I am supported, the block, the right side block is supporting, I don't know if you can see that, is supporting my right upper thigh, right? Both blocks are there just for fun, just so we don't keep moving them. And then I'm going to take that left hip bone and I'm going to start to draw it down and see if I can level the sacrum again. And I'm going to play here. And notice what is happening in the hips, in the thigh, right? Breathe. If you want, you can come to fingertips and lift up. Squeeze the left glute, engage the left leg, everybody. Tone in slightly from pubic bone to belly button and feel this, right? So Pigeon, sometimes not accessible to folks, is very accessible here. It doesn't hurt the knee as much. Good. So take the left hand block, slide it down to your thigh. So your blocks are now, one is up high on the back of your right thigh, one is to the low left thigh. And feel this, right? So now what's happened? Now I can't oversink the hip. I can engage the glute. I can lift the knee and maybe find that. Yes, you can come to elbows, right? But when you come to elbows, you do take the back bend portion of the pose out. That's not good or bad, it's just different. And breathe. All right, come on out, everybody. Plant the hands. Flip your left toes under, lift, step back, downward facing dog. Pedal all that out. Lower your knees. Slide that block back so that they're both side by side again. And then step forward, left foot. Start to walk the left foot over to the right side. Drop your whole shin to the floor, whole shin. And see if you can find level in the sacrum. What does that mean in your body? Where does it have to go for you to find that level spot? Maybe you come up on fingertips. Maybe you engage that right glute. Maybe you feel the most subtle tuck of the pelvis. And breathe. Some of you can take your hands higher, right? We didn't do that on the other side, I know. Just notice as soon as you start to feel that in the low back or the SI joint, you know you're pushing the torque on the hips a little too much. Good. Flip your toes under, lift your right knee, slide the right hand block down, and then level out again so that one block is supporting your right thigh, one block is supporting your left thigh. Feel how nice and sweet and even the hips are here, ideally. And then maybe come on down to elbows. And breathe. And notice. Good. Press into your hands, everyone. Lift the hips. Slide back to down dog. Hold here. Lower your knees. And release either child's pose or hero pose. And notice how that felt. If anything, right? Did it change the relationship of your body to pigeon? If we can keep, I'm really feel strongly about keeping the integrity of the pelvis and in particular the hip joints and the joints in the pelvis so that we don't start to breach that integrity. I used to be able to just sink into, and I still can sink into pigeon pose and just drop on down. But I learned for my body that it wasn't particularly good. So can we trust that funky feeling to say, oh, I need to back up, back out just a little bit. So blocks are on either side of your mat. And then come to table pose, to downward facing dog. Take your feet wide, walk your hands back. Bend the knees, hands to knees, come on up. Whew. Just roll that out, just shake it out. And then come on to the front of your mat. So what is the typical way that we would come into pigeon? Just gonna scoot this back a little bit. So standing in mountain pose, engage the glutes, feel your body. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Pause here. Hands to shins, come halfway up. Exhale it all the way down. Bend the knees and step back with your right leg. Come into a lunge. And we're going to do this two different ways. So the first way that we will often be taught to come into pigeon is to drop the right knee Walk the left foot over, drop the left knee. And then here we are, right? Now, let me just face forward for a second. I have been taught I feel best in my body if either the hip bone and the knee are either straight out or slightly out. I do see some students that bring the knee way in. I don't love that, but trust your body. So if you can, the leg is straight out or slightly angled out. That's good too. So here I am in pigeon. I'm not touching the floor. What do I want to do about that? One, you slide the knee back so that you can seat the hips. I feel both thighs on the floor. Or I take a blanket or a block and I set it under that hip so that I feel supported. The hips feel supported. I don't feel like I'm hanging in any of the joints, especially on the left side. Or sorry, especially on the right side. And breathe. Or blanket, right? And then maybe you walk the hands. Maybe you dive down. Breathe. How is your sacrum? Does it feel level? Can you still tone the lower belly in? And breathe. Start to take your body up, come into the hands. Maybe come to fingertips. Ooh. Maybe bend the back leg and take the right hand to the right foot. Lower that down. Imagine you're on an elevator. Draw the whole pelvis up. Lift your right knee. Release downward facing dog. Pause here. When you're ready, step forward, right leg. Got a block on the right side. Lower the left knee. Walk the right foot over to the left. Drop the knee. Look at where your knee is in space. Is it either straight out from the hip or is it angled out slightly? One of those is usually good for most. And then I'm going to check out this side. Whew. This side feels tighter to me. And where it feels tighter is the left thigh. It's not the right hip. So I can do one of two things. I can support the right hip, which takes the pressure off here, or I can take the left hip and support that because the right hip doesn't really need it. What's important is to try to level it out so that the sacrum stays nice and even. So play there. What's it feel like in your body? You can come up on fingertips. There's your back bend, everybody. Drop down to elbows. Maybe come on all the way down, head to forearms or to hands. And maybe close the eyes and inquire in your body. Where am I feeling this particular pose? What part of my body is talking to me? And is it a good talk? Or is it something you really want to get out of? Like, listen to that. Listen to what's happening. Trust your signals. So wherever you are, come on up. Engage the belly. Imagine you're on that elevator again. You're going to lift the whole pelvis, lift the knee, step back to downward facing dog. Breathe. Lower your knees to the floor and either hero pose, child's pose, something that feels good for a moment so that you can rest and breathe. Just shake it out. The beautiful thing about yoga is we're all different. We all have different bodies and we all have different expressions of the poses and what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And if I could teach anything, it is to listen to that in your body. Because we have a pose called pigeon pose, and everybody thinks they're supposed to look like this. And I realize I missed one part of that last little series. That's okay. But it doesn't have to look like anything or anybody else. So come on back. Come to standing in your most yogi way. Bend the knees, come on up wherever you are. Come to the front of your mat. Have your blocks where you can get them. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, float down. Inhale, halfway up. And down again. Your hands come to your blocks, bend the knees, step back, right leg. Hold here for a moment. If you want to play, take the right hand block under your right thigh, lowering down quite a bit. Maybe your left hand comes to the inside of your left foot. Squeeze the right glute, everybody. And breathe. Walk the left foot back in, walk the left hand back where it was, lift up, step back, downward facing dog. Move the block to the center of your mat. Come to plank pose, hold. Lower down to the block, a little up dog. Stretching, engaging, keeping that pelvis steady. Lift up, down dog. Walk the block to just toward the left side. Step forward, right leg. Lower the left thigh to your block. Maybe walk the right hand in, the right foot out, hold. Big deep breath, everyone. Walk the right hand out, right foot in, lift the left knee, step back, down dog. Move that block over to your right side mat. Lift your right leg up to the sky, second way in. As you take that knee forward, the knee lands by the right hand. The heel, the ankle, lands by the left hip. We start to scoot our left leg back, finding pigeon pose with a little bit of momentum. Maybe the block goes under your glute, maybe not. Maybe it goes under your left thigh. Not, maybe both. Okay. I can do it without the blocks. I kind of like it this morning with the blocks. It feels very cozy. Look at your front knee. Is it really coming through that middle line? Does it need to come out just a little bit? But again, trust that. Breathe. Maybe you lower down. Sleeping pigeon. Good. Press back into your hands. One here, two, bend the left knee. Slide the left arm behind. See if you can find the foot. Release. Plant the hands, lift the hips, step back, down dog. Blocks are either there or not. You can move them out. Try how it feels on the other side. Left leg lifts. Slide that knee in, drop the ankle. Find pigeon on this side. Decide for you if you want the blocks or not. I'm liking these blocks this morning. You know, so a thought that just came to me is when I was a younger yogi, I wanted to show everybody else that I could do the poses. And now I want to show myself that I can trust my body. It's an interesting switch, right? From the ego to hopefully listening and going, yep or nope. Even here, and I should have said that sooner, you can drop to the one hip and bend the other knee and hang out here and feel that instead. Maybe you come on down, elbows, forehead. Breathe. Lift up into your hands. Optionally, bend your back knee, reach back with the same side arm, coming into pigeon. Whew. And breathe. Release. Flip your toes under, zip up that belly, lift down dog, everybody. Ooh, shake, shake, shake that out. Lower your knees to the floor. Child's pose, hero pose. Blocks can move out of the way for now. And breathe. From child's pose or whichever pose you've chosen, come on up and have a seat. If you're comfortable, and you don't have to, I want you to sit on one block at the lowest level and take the other block and keep it nearby. So we're going to drop the left knee out to the side. The other leg extends, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that block, that second block, and put it under your thigh. So once again, when we lift the hips here, if I don't have this knee just wants to keep going until it gets hyperextended, and it does not feel good. The block is going to keep you from hyperextending. And otherwise, I want you to think of kind of like a Janu Sirsasana, okay? Tilt your pelvis forward, almost as if you're going to tilt that block that you're sitting on forward. I've actually lifted kind of the back edge of that block off the floor a little bit by tilting the pelvis forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Whew. You can shift your block that's under your thigh, but try not to remove it fully so that you keep that soft bend in your knee. The back block is tilted just a little. Breathe. Torso gets long. Find our pose. Press up, everybody. You're sitting on that block. Bend your knee. Maybe take the foot up and open up. Little balance work here. Bend the knee. Release. Bring that block over to the other side. Make sure you're steady on that block you're sitting on first. Get the legs where you want them. Tuck that block underneath. It's either under your knee, under your thigh, under your calf. Torso is even, hips are even. Pick it up. Exhale, take it forward. Tilt the block right, tilt the pelvis forward. And breathe. Ooh. Tight, tight, tight. And come on up. Bend that knee. Make sure you're solid on, because we'll tend to slip forward. Solid on that seated block. Take the foot up. Ooh. Take the other arm up. And release. You're still on that block. Here's the tricky part, so just be mindful. You're going to stay on the block, but then you're going to slide yourself off and forward. So you still feel the block, but it's moved all the flesh off the sit bones. I'll turn sideways because I realize my mat is slid so far forward you can't see anymore. So I'm on the block, and then I'm simply sliding forward until my butt's back on the block, but I've moved everything forward. And then just come on forward any amount. I'm not a fan in my own body of forward folds with both legs straight. So I'm not going to go very far. But I feel some integrity in the back. I know I'm not over rounding. Breathe. There went my block. And come on up, everybody. Bend the knees, feet to the floor. Come on down. I'll even spare you some core work today. Feel your body on the mat. Whew. Pause here. Draw the right knee to your chest. Hold on to that knee, either top or underneath, and straighten the left leg. Breathe. Hands go behind the thigh on the right side. Take the right leg up. You can slide the hands up the calf if you want. Bend the right knee, bring it to chest. Bend the left knee, bring it to chest. Straighten the right leg along the floor. Pause here. Hands go behind the left thigh. Take the left leg up. You can slide the hands up only if it makes sense in your body, that you're not overreaching. Breathe, everybody. Bend the left knee. Draw both knees to chest. Allow both knees to roll to the right. Arms open to T or cactus. Simple twist here if it feels a little funky. Walk the hips over to the left first. Breathe. Releasing this side, bring the knees back to center, maybe shifting the hips to the right, knees come up, and then lower to the left. Just pause. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Bringing your torso back to center, shifting your hips back to neutral. Bring both knees to your chest. Maybe cross the ankles. And then if it's okay, cross one knee over the other. Slide your hands down the shins, maybe to the feet. Open the knees or open the feet opposite each other. Releasing that side, knees to chest. Cross ankles the other way. Maybe cross knees. Slide the hands down. Maybe you find your feet, maybe not. And release. Getting ready for Shavasana. Maybe you grab those two blocks one more time and place them end to end so that your thighs can rest, the backs of the thighs can rest on your blocks. The hips are level, your sacrum fully on the floor. A nice big breath, exhaling it out, lifting the and squeezing the glutes. Just squeeze everything together, press the backs of the shoulders to the floor, maybe the legs, the lower legs lift off the floor, and fully release. Let everything go. Maybe windshield wiper the feet. Snuggle into your mat and find your Shavasana. And as you let go, as you surrender, you send a feeling of gratitude to your own beautiful self for being wise, for listening, for being your own best teacher. Soften the shoulders, the belly, the hips. Soften down even more. For those of you who are ready, start to wiggle those toes. Maybe bend the knees. Pause, feel your back body on the mat. Draw your knees to your chest. Rock side to side and allow those knees to roll over to one side. And then as you're ready, come on up, everyone. As I was in Shavasana, I was just feeling all kinds of tension and fear and worry melt into the mat. It was really wonderful. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale to your heart. Bow to your own inner teacher, so wise. Sending everyone out there love and hugs. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed our little pigeon class.